In today's episode of Explosive Courtroom Drama...
Do you understand 56 million people are looking at you? I don't believe you. The defendant was not paying rent.
Yes.
With that kind of anger problem should not be left unsupervised with a child. Pictures.
She's punching, kicking, then she locked on my knee, biting me.
We're diving headfirst into the messy aftermath of love gone wrong. In our first case, a scorned ex-girlfriend is seeking justice over a hefty credit card bill. Did her former flame take advantage of her generosity, or is this a case of buyer's remorse? With accusations flying and tempers flaring, this courtroom showdown is about to get heated.
Ms. Ratchford, it is your claim that Mr. Miller, who was your boyfriend at one time, used your credit card and owes you some money on that credit card. You used as well as Mr. Miller, or it was only used by Mr. Miller?
90% of it was Mr. Miller. I used it for one charge.
Why did you use that credit card for the plane ticket?
I was at my mother's location, and I didn't have my other credit cards with me, so that was the one credit card I had in my wallet.
Ex-boyfriend racking up charges on your credit card? Sounds like a nightmare. But did she authorize those charges? Judge Judy's already questioning the 90% claim. Is Miss Ratchford exaggerating, or did her ex take her for a financial ride?
Mr. Miller, why did you take a credit card from the plaintiff? Explain to me whether or not you used a credit card that was in her name.
I did not use a credit card that was in her name. There was no credit card outstanding debt. I never used a credit card.
He claims he never used the card, yet they had previous business dealings? This story is getting fishy fast. Is Mr. Miller telling the truth, or is he trying to pull a fast one on Judge Judy?
May I see the credit card purchases to which you refer?
Yes. All of the purchases that are related to Mr. Miller are highlighted in pink. He was an authorized user on the account, so he had his own card that had his own name on it, but I was the primary account holder.
Wow, Miss Ratchford came prepared with the receipts. Judge Judy's definitely impressed with that color-coded evidence, but will Mr. Miller finally admit to his spending spree, or will he continue to deny the undeniable?
Do you want me to make a big circle around it?
Yeah, because I don't see my name on here
Okay,
anywhere.
may I see it, please?
Okay, I see that.
As expected, Mr. Miller's in denial mode. Even with his name staring him in the face, he refuses to admit the truth. Judge Judy's not having it. She's about to expose his lies and make him face the music, one pink highlight at a time.
I don't believe you. You even acknowledge in your answer that you made the charges. It was some sort of something that had to do with refurbishing your house in order to sell it. But there is no question that you made the charges where it says Miller. She had her card, like I have my card. Those are your charges. I don't believe you.
Judge Judy's tearing him a new one, but he's as cool as a cucumber. Is this guy delusional, or does he honestly think he can outsmart the judge? His poker face is impressive, but it won't change the facts.
The American Express company somehow picked your name at random to give you a card. Is that what you're telling me? Do you know that 10 million people or 12 million people a day watch this program? Do you want to look ridiculous in front of 56 million people?
I think I look pretty good, Your Honor.
No, you look foolish.
Oh, the ego on this guy. He thinks he's looking good while digging himself a deeper hole. Judge Judy's calling him out for his ridiculous claims, but he seems oblivious.
She got a credit card. She gave you one in your name. Foolish lady. And anytime a man asks you for a credit card or a loan, I want you to listen to the word sucker.
Judge Judy's giving a life lesson here, folks. Never give your credit card to a man unless you want to be labeled a sucker. But is she being too hard on Miss Ratchford? She's clearly the victim in this situation.
PayPal, consulting services. What was that for? You want to tell me?
I was told that it was for a cash advance because there wasn't a PIN number given to the card.
She'd give them her own card because it has her name on it.
Or she
This
can
one has.
use
This
my
one has.
card.
No, she can't use your card.
PayPal for a cash advance? That's a new one. But Mr. Miller's grasping at straws, trying to shift the blame onto Miss Ratchford. Judge Judy's not falling for it.
Do you understand? 56 million people are looking at you and saying, Miller, you should have stayed home. You put on a suit, you look very nice, $3,100, judgment for the plaintiff, we're finished. Thank you.
In a classic Judge Judy smackdown, Mr. Miller's charade crumbles under the weight of evidence and his own foolish denials. Justice prevails as Miss Ratchford gets her $3,100. This case raises a thought-provoking question. Should there be harsher penalties for those who abuse financial trust in relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Next up, a battle of the exes over unpaid rent and a broken lease. When love turns sour, who's left footing the bill? Will Judge Judy side with the scorned lover or the financially strapped ex? Get ready for a showdown over broken promises and broken hearts.
Mr. Potter, you and Miss Johnson were in a relationship. You signed a lease together on a one-bedroom apartment. The relationship didn't work out, and Miss Johnson moved out 3 months prior to the end of the lease. You want her to be responsible for her half of the rent.
Ah, the classic tale of love and leases gone wrong. When relationships end, someone's often left holding the bag, or in this case, the rent bill. Will Miss Johnson be held accountable for her share? Or will she charm her way out of this financial responsibility?
Who were you working for, Miss Johnson?
During the summer, I was in an unpaid full-time internship.
What were you doing in April of 2017?
I was finishing my degree.
What were you doing in May?
I started a full-time unpaid internship at a hospital.
Unpaid internship and no job? That's a tough spot to be in when you're on a lease. But is it fair to expect your partner to shoulder the financial burden? Judge Judy's digging deeper into Miss Johnson's financial situation.
When did you move out?
February 23rd.
In the month of January of 2018, did you give Mr. Potter any money towards rent? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
How much did she give you?
Well, she didn't give me money. I gave it to her. She paid it on the mobile app, and I transferred $644 into her bank.
Miss Johnson's story is unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Did she really pay rent in January? Or is she trying to pull a fast one on Judge Judy? Her tangled tale of money transfers is raising eyebrows.
Within a month of having started your new job in October, did you start contributing $644 towards the rent?
Not exactly. If I could contribute that amount, I would.
While you were going to school, is it correct, Mr. Potter, that the defendant was not paying rent?
Yes.
Hold on a second. It seems like Miss Johnson is playing a dangerous game of catch me if you can with the rent payments. Miss Johnson's argument is falling apart faster than a house of cards.
Your request is that she pay you $644 times 3.
Correct.
Did you pay the rent for the entire period?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you have any information, Ms. Johnson, that Mr. Potter did not pay the rent through the end of the lease?
No.
You owe him $1,932. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
Judge Judy's verdict is swift and decisive. Miss Johnson owes her ex $1,932 for her share of the unpaid rent. It's a clear message that you can't just walk away from financial obligations. In our third case, a custody battle takes a destructive turn when a scorned ex-lover allegedly unleashes her fury on property. With accusations of vandalism and domestic violence, Judge Judy will have to separate fact from fiction.
Miss Rose, I assume this is your fiancé?
Yes,
Mr. Bader and Miss Brasher have a child together.
correct.
Miss Brasher vandalized your house and your car.
Yes,
And you want her to be responsible for paying for repairs of your car and your house.
that's correct.
A fiancé in tow, a house damaged, and a car in disrepair. Mr. Bader's here seeking justice from his ex. But what could possibly drive someone to such destructive behavior? It's clear there's more to this story than a simple custody dispute.
Did you and Mr. Bader ever live together?
Yes, we have.
And your son was born when?
2011.
So starting in 2016, you had a custody agreement. Was that through the court?
Yes.
A year to figure out a custody agreement? Seems like these exes weren't exactly on the same page. Was this delay a sign of cooperation or a brewing storm?
After you and Miss Brasher separated, were you regularly visiting with your son?
It was an on and off thing, and that's why I took it to court.
So tell me what the court order was ultimately.
We agreed on a 50-50 custody. She takes him Mondays and Tuesdays. I take him Wednesdays and Thursdays.
On again, off again visitation? That's not a healthy way to co-parent. It's no wonder Mr. Bader sought a court-ordered custody agreement. But will this 50-50 split be enough to keep the peace?
Now, this incident occurred on October what?
13th.
Was Barrett with you on Wednesday and Thursday, or was his mother to have him that weekend?
I track their parenting time, so I know for sure it was her weekend.
Thursday night drama. It's the dad's turn for custody. But did something happen during the handover that led to this vandalism? The fiancée seems confident in her tracking skills, but could her involvement be adding fuel to the fire?
On that Thursday, you were home.
Yes, I take Wednesdays and Thursdays off every week because of having my son.
What do you do?
I'm a cashier.
What are your days and hours of employment?
They switch week to week.
They say it was in the evening when you came over on Thursday.
Mid-afternoon, yes.
A he said, she said battle over the timing of the visit? This is a classic Judge Judy ingredient for drama. But is someone trying to hide something by being vague about the time?
What were you doing there on a Thursday during his parenting time?
He was in recovery when he went to his father's, and if I could have him during his recovery time.
And he said no.
And he said no.
I'm his father. I can take as good care of him as you can. That's what he said.
A mother's concern for her child after surgery is understandable, but overstepping custody boundaries is a risky move. Judge Judy isn't buying the excuse, and she's not afraid to remind Miss Brasher who's in charge here. The question remains, what was she really doing at Mr. Bader's house that Thursday?
Did you call before you went over?
I called just to talk to him, and he refused to let me talk to him over the phone.
Clearly, he was at the hospital when He had his tonsils out. So now you say you called and he said you can't talk to him.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
No, Your Honor.
Judge Judy's playing referee, calling out inconsistencies and contradictions in Miss Brasher's story. Is she deliberately lying or simply misremembering the events? One thing's for sure, Judge Judy's not letting her off the hook easily.
I'd gotten probably 15 missed calls. I had my boss calling me because they had gone up to my work.
What were you doing at his work?
To see if he was working.
Oh, you're a cutie.
Caught red-handed. Miss Brasher's concern for her son seems to have turned into a full-blown manhunt. This isn't about a mother's love, it's about control and disruption.
The concern was not for your son. You thought he was supposed to be doing was home taking care of his son. Otherwise, there's no reason for you to go to his work. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Judge Judy's cutting through the excuses and exposing Miss Brasher's true intentions. This wasn't a worried mother checking on her son, it was a jealous ex trying to stir up trouble.
Tell me what she did to your car when she got to the house.
She took a metal lawn chair and started beating my doors
You have
and
a
fell
picture?
over. Yeah, I have multiple pictures.
I'd like to see it, please.
And she took out a couple windows in our house also.
Talk about a meltdown. A metal lawn chair against a car? That's not just anger, that's rage on steroids. Broken windows and kid caught in the chaos. This isn't just a property disaster, it's a safety circus.
I'd take her back to court and let her have supervised visitation because family court judge would say somebody
My
with
son
that
was
kind of
crying in
anger,
the house.
I'm speaking, with that kind of anger problem should not be left unsupervised with a child.
Judge Judy's not playing favorites, she's holding both parents to the same standard. Whether it's mom or dad, acting out of control is equally alarming.
He was crying in the house because his mother
No,
was
he
breaking
wasn't.
out windows.
No, he wasn't. Got
was
her
this?
car, so.
Her here, Honor.
Of the car.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pictures.
I didn't do it.
Somebody else. Maybe it was her.
Miss Brasher's playing the blame game on turbo mode. It's always someone else's fault, isn't it? Judge Judy's not having it. This woman's excuses are as flimsy as the door she allegedly kicked in.
You filed a claim originally for $2,250. You reduced the claim to $1,250.
I actually didn't get the chance to amend it for more than I.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the total amount requested, which is $1,250. And I want to tell you something. I would take it back to the family court.
Judge Judy delivers a swift judgment, siding with Mr. Bader and awarding him $1,250 for the damages. Hold on tight, because our next case is about to get physical. A custody dispute escalates into a wild altercation between exes. Accusations of assault and property damage fly as Judge Judy tries to unravel the truth. Who's the real aggressor in this love-turned war?
Miss Carter, you and the defendant have a child together. You are not married. You don't live together.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, we're supposed to meet with the defendant to get some money.
Yes, ma'am.
Where were you supposed to meet him?
At his mother's house.
A meeting about money at his mother's house? Sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Judge Judy dives straight into the chaos. Was this a simple exchange gone wrong, or is there more to this drama than meets the eye?
How did that come around as a result of
Phone calls in Texas.
I'd like to see the text. He says you were supposed to meet at,
Walmart.
was it text messages or phone?
It was a phone call.
Conflicting stories about the meeting location, disappearing text messages, someone's not being honest here. Is this a case of forgetfulness or a deliberate attempt to mislead the court? Judge Judy's reading Miss Carter like a book.
I believe you were supposed to call him to meet him someplace. I've been doing this work a long time, and I'm looking at your face. And I know that you were supposed to meet him at a sort of a neutral place. There would have been no good reason for him to invite you to his mother's house and have his new girlfriend there.
And it's not a happy ending. Did Miss Carter deliberately go to his mother's house to create drama? It seems like Judge Judy's already lost trust in her story.
How long have you and the defendant been separated, not dating?
Since July of 2016.
And when was the baby born?
October the 20th, 2014.
Was he giving you any money?
Every now and then.
So you never had any need or want to go to court to finalize a support order?
No, ma'am.
It seems Mr. Fitchard might not be such a deadbeat dad after all. His occasional payments were enough to keep Miss Carter out of court. But what sparked this sudden need for more money, and why did their meeting turn so violent?
So September 4th, you went to his house at what time?
It was probably around 3 or 4.
Did he give you money?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had arranged with him to come over after work?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how would he know to have money for you? Unless you had a conversation with him before that you were coming over.
It's just we'll talk like before I go to work, and I'll just come after I get off from work.
Miss Carter's casual approach to child support is raising some eyebrows. It seems like she expects Mr. Fitchard to be a mind reader. But is that fair? Judge Judy's not buying this after-work routine.
She stops when she passes and sees my car. But just because you see my car there, you just pull up and walk in. That's not okay.
Have you told her it's not okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Several times.
Did you tell her why?
You never know what's going on to just pull up at someone else's house. It's not my house.
Whose house is it?
It's my mother's.
Even in the most casual relationships, there are boundaries. It seems like Miss Carter has a serious case of entitlement, thinking she can waltz into her ex's mom's house uninvited. This disregard for basic manners is not a good look.
September 16th, 3 o'clock, you're finished with work, you go to bed, the babysitter, you pick up the children, and then where do you go?
To Walmart and went grocery shopping.
So that would have been easy for you to meet him at Walmart.
I do believe I called his phone and he did not answer.
That's a fibber.
Judge Judy's got a nose for dishonesty and she's sniffing out another lie. This story's changing faster than a chameleon's colors. Did Miss Carter conveniently forget about her Walmart trip, or is this a deliberate attempt to manipulate the situation?
You pull into the house, you saw his car, it's 8 o'clock at night, your 2 children are in the back of the car, you go to the front door.
Yes, ma'am.
And then what?
I go in the house.
You knock at the door, you ring the doorbell, you wait for somebody
I
to
knocked
come
at
to
the
the
door
door.
and they knew that I was in the house.
Wait a minute, leaving 2 children alone in the car at night while you barge into someone's house? Judge Judy's giving Miss Carter a much needed etiquette lesson. This is not how you resolve a child support dispute, lady.
I go into the man cave.
Okay, and?
We were talking, like, are you going to give me the money?
Hold on a second. Now, what's the first thing he said to you when he saw you?
What are you doing? I was like, I came to get the money.
What money?
The money to get the diapers and wipes.
Man cave rendezvous? Sounds like a weird place to discuss child support, but Miss Carter's casual attitude about money is raising red flags. She just waltzes into the man cave demanding money? This woman clearly doesn't understand boundaries.
When I turn around, it's her. I say, what are you doing? What's going on? I came to get the money. I give her money. I don't know if it was $40 to $50. And then that's it, you can leave. Now, why? She here, why I can't be here too?
This woman is turning into a real house guest from hell. Mr. Fitchard's frustration is boiling over, and it's clear this unexpected visit is about to escalate.
How many people were there?
Like 8. My mother was on the other side of the house. My stepdad was in there with us.
What happened next?
She started talking to my sister, Amanda. When I came in, I'm just stopping by to say, hey, so I'm coming in.
Stop shaking your head.
A full house for a family feud. Talk about a tense situation. But Judge Judy's not letting Miss Carter's nonverbal cues slide. Is she trying to communicate something without words? Or is her head shaking just a nervous habit? One thing's for sure, this man cave showdown is far from over.
You came in with your girlfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
About what time?
7:57. And at 8 o'clock, she was behind me.
Okay.
I think she was sitting across the street waiting on to see if I was gonna pull up or not.
A 3-minute difference in arrival time? Was Miss Carter lying in wait to ambush her ex and his new girlfriend? This accusation of stalking is a bombshell.
Now I want you to pick it up and understanding what went down there. Okay. Go.
As I'm talking to his sister,
What were you talking to his sister about?
going to the club,
You wanted to go with her to a strip club?
she was talking about she was going. I told her I would probably be there too.
You're having this long conversation with her, and your 2 children are sitting in the back seat of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
Alone.
This mother's priorities are completely out of whack. Leaving young children alone in a car at night is downright neglectful. Judge Judy's disgust is clear.
She says that while she was talking to her sister, you grabbed her by the back of the hair and pulled her out of the house. You want to tell me what happened?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, I asked her to leave like 3 or 4 times. Then I stood in front of her. I said, please leave. I pointed to the door 3 times. Okay, by that time, she go to jump up and lunge at me. When she lunge at me and go to grab me, I grab her hair.
Mimar Fitchard claims self-defense, but was grabbing her hair truly necessary? This is a messy situation with both parties at fault. But Mr. Fitchard's not done yet. There's more to this story.
She's punching, kicking, then she locked on my knee, biting me. And then eventually they pulled her off of me. I sit in the house like 3 to 5 more minutes. I tried to leave and she pulled her car in front of mine. That's what started the altercation where I had to.
This is a complete meltdown, and it's clear both parties lost control. Judge Judy's verdict is clear.
There's no question in my mind she started all this trouble. I think that you exercised poor judgment while she was still on the scene.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
should have waited inside or called the police, let the police come, diffuse the situation. That was a mistake, because there's no question in my mind that she started this whole
Yes, ma'am.
this whole problem for which she's not getting rewarded.
Ms. Carter's the instigator, but Mr. Fitchard should have known better. This isn't just about who started the fight, it's about responsible de-escalation. Judge Judy's playing the role of family counselor, offering a practical solution to this chaotic situation. But will these parents listen to reason and put their child's needs first?
We understand each other.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
done with this case. Your counterclaim I addressed, sir. I said, as unwise as it was equally as unwise for you to leave the house and get into this jockeying with cars, resulting in both cars getting damaged.
Case dismissed for both sides. She's not letting anyone off the hook in this chaotic mess, highlighting the shared responsibility for the escalating conflict. Should the law differentiate between instigation and retaliation in domestic disputes? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe for more courtroom drama. Stay smart and stay tuned.